has to know where the shooters are. Bailey is a guy that can shoot the ball with given time, so you got to get out there. The real key here is the patience that UCLA has on their defense. If they get impatient, then they give Princeton a heck of a chance.
UCLA, the defending national champions, they beat Arkansas in the championship game last season. Toby Bailey, 26 points. Here's Llewellyn for three. Rebounded by Black.
Well, Princeton's problem is they've got to try to, first of all, slow down the Bruins. The Bruins want to run. They're as good a team in the country running. The other thing that the Bruins they're going to do is they're going to back off defensively and force Princeton to make shots. When we talked to Pete Carril, the one thing he said is this is not one of his better shooting teams, and UCLA is going to try to prove that.
Princeton known for patience on offense. A lot of backdoor cuts. 5 on the shot clock. Here's Sidney Johnson. He'll have to force one. That's a three off the front of the rim.
There's no reason for the guards not to block out. That's how Doyle gets that one.
J.R. Henderson missed some games late in the season with a sore throat and the flu. Here's Llewellyn on the left wing. Had 14 points against Penn in the Ivy League playoff game that allowed Princeton to get into the end for the first half. Came back to beat VCU, and they will play the winner of this game.
Still trying to see if Princeton can get a good shot off. The thing about UCLA, even if they go in the zone, they have guys with such good ability that they still can get out and extend you when you're taking a shot.
Sidney Johnson and Georgia from Albuquerque, New Mexico. 7-0 UCLA. Out to an early lead. 4 minutes into the first half. UCLA 3 of 7 from the field.
The star for Princeton is Goodrich, but his problem is he will have a very difficult time getting a shot over Jelani McCoy.
In 1975.
75, he had a great Final 14 with Bill Bradley.
Here's Sidney Johnson. Johnson on the right wing inside Goodrich. Fakes the move on the baseline. The kick out, Chris Doyle, and he'll knock it down. 3 for Doyle. Back 10, however, they are a 4th seed, and that upset a lot of people in Los Angeles.
Yeah, they were disappointed in that because if they were, then they make a good argument. The committee has said that it's your conference regular season that shows that you had this prolonged, I guess, good showing, and then they show well and win the conference by 3, and they get seeded out in the West. And they were very disappointed with that, and particularly in light of the fact, but they're a deliberate team, so you don't want to be behind a team that plays deliberate.
Here's Henderson, guarded by Bailey. He'll run through. Doyle got a good look, and he shot him out in a first-team All-Pac-10 selection. Here's Goodrich. Jump hook, and he allows the Bruins to score on the other end. They lead at 11-6. Goodrich underneath, and he'll get the foul.
Sidney Johnson told me they haven't had much of a chance to get too sentimental, and that's because in true Pete Carril fashion, he's been treating this just like any other game, not allowing the players to think about anything else. Back to you guys.
Thanks, Andrea.
Yeah, that's what Pete Carril would do. I mean, and that's the good. I like the way he handles.
Contrasting styles. Princeton, their scoring defense leads the nation, holding teams to 51.5% per game. While UCLA, they shoot 53% from the field. That's #1 in the nation in scoring.
Well, that's because UCLA gets out in transition and runs as well as anybody. That's why their percentages are like that. And the scoring defense for Princeton comes about because they're deliberate in their offense. Not that they guard you so well, but they slow the tempo of the game.
Toby Bailey too strong. Backside rebound goes to Henderson. He's in a hurry. Tries to bounce pass in traffic, and we'll get Bob Myers. Also in the ball game right now for Princeton, Brian Earl. Backdoor, Earl unable to make the catch.
Brian Earl is the brother of Dan Earl, who plays at Penn State. Had some interest in going there, but Penn State had some other people in mind.
They skip it. Earl. He can't get the jumper to fall.
This young man has become an outstanding player for him. When Chris Johnson was playing, when they played at USC, they called his play 9 straight times, and he either got a basket or got fouled 7 of those times. That's big-time play.
Had a career-high 36 points earlier this year against California. Goodrich up the floor. Princeton down 14-9. Henderson jab step. Kick it back out. Sidney Johnson. Doyle. He's cut off on the baseline by Myers.
This is much more penetration than Princeton had when they started the game.
9 on the shot clock. 7. Henderson floating away. And it's recovered by Goodrich. He throws it out the basket.
He didn't have...
In Dallas. 7:14 to go. 14-9 Princeton. Right now, I'd have to say, Quinn, that this score is very favorable to the Tigers.
Well, they've got to be able to just get some...
This evening. 16-9. Goodrich. Here's Sidney Johnson, back to Henderson, and he'll stroke it.
Yeah, that's the one you've got to make. If Ugality has not been able to do a lot of practicing, considering he hurt his back against Washington State, they probably kept him out, so he'll be a little rusty.
Mitch Henderson, a very good defender, started 20 games last year as a freshman. Here's Doyle. Check that Earl.
So Henderson is throwing the ball to Earl or whatever the guard's name is, any one of the guards that goes through there. The problem is you got to throw him the ball where he can do something with it. With UCLA where they are, he can't do anything with it.
Whipped inside, Steve Goodrich from Princeton.
Goes and gets a block. But to this day, if you listen to Princeton, they'll tell you that they think it was a foul.
There's Mitch Henderson.
With a great take left-handed.
Syracuse and teams like Villanova and Georgetown.
Yeah, they'll scare you because they're just so patient and deliberate with their offense. And, you know, if their shooters are making shots, they put a lot of pressure on you.
There's Goodrich, Sidney Johnson to the hole.
And that was a little bit of a panic because all of a sudden everybody got collapsed in the paint and Dollar tried to force a pass instead of bringing it out and forcing his man to come with him so he could enter the ball.
Brian Earl. Here's Johnson, the only 3-time captain in Princeton basketball history. Goodrich, jump hook. Snared.
Bill wants the game to go with his team because he wants to have the patience. What UCLA has to be able to do is on the defensive end stay patient. They've come down a couple occasions taking some quick shots, but even when they're starting to take the shots and they run the shot clock down, they're not in rhythm like they normally are.
As Loellis has it rattle out. Play 29 seconds on the shot clock for the Tigers. They're down 19-16. And Steve Goodrich will be patient and get it back to Sidney Johnson. 18 on the shot clock.
Oh, they got him.
Cut loss.
Got him. You could see it coming because the guy, the wingman on this side, fake say, won't make a lot of difference because I won't get to hear it.
And there are some of the major victories in Coach Carril's career so far.
Career, more like administration.
As a matter of fact, his coaching career spanning 7 presidents. And right now, UCLA got all kinds of trouble with this Princeton team. They lead it only 19-18. And your statistics from the first half of play, UCLA shooting 39%, they shoot 53% on the season.
Yeah, and the real problem for them was they only got up 18 shots. That's just not something that UCLA can do. A team that runs like they do, they'll get up.
Problems getting in sync offensively.
And a lot of that comes because you force it because of their defensive impatience.
Goodrich, his shot off the, and our score stays at 19-18. Here's Doyle driving the baseline and a whistle. Let's check in with Andrea Joyce.
All right.
UCLA is just kind of jogging through it, not getting out of sight of the defender before they come into offensive position.
Here's Gabe Llewellyn. Steve Goodrich got position on the block.
You see what the Pacers got them. They've gotten the ball in position a couple of times now. Got Jelani McCoy out of position on that one as Goodrich got it on the block and went to the other side. This is ball movement and people moving. You see Goodrich look like he's going one side. McCoy tries to recover and does it too late. Goodrich has good inside position, throws it over his head. And the bench is obviously excited about the fact that for Princeton, basically the back door near the end of the first half and that play where they move Jelani McCoy in one direction and take him back another one.
Batted back out by Chris Doyle. Princeton, their first lead of the game. Here's Doyle, the only senior on the floor right now.
He may be the only senior, but this exposing the ball to the defense may not be the way you want to go about it with UCLA.
11 on the shot clock. The kick out. Doyle for three.
One side and stayed behind the defense, and they lost track of him. And that's how he gets that easy shot.
There's Goodrich.
See, Princeton always has at least two people constantly in motion so the defense can't settle on you.
Sidney Johnson. BC played very well in the Big East. He was the co-coach of the year along with Coach Calhoun in Connecticut.
Yeah, that'll be a good game. Indiana has started to play pretty well late, but you're right. Boston College was a team that had a pretty good shot near the end to even make it to the NCAA.
Gabe Llewellyn, another backdoor cut. And Princeton takes
mine. And you see him have some success. So for some strange reason, you just root for him.
Here's Llewellyn in transition again. Oh, and he missed the three-point play. What an opportunity for Gabe Llewellyn, a freshman.
What an opportunity for Princeton. They don't get many fast breaks. And right there, they were able to get a rebound. Doyle gets it, throws it up ahead. Llewellyn gets it, and he wasn't able to finish it. He gets in good position. They just don't get many breaks, many easy opportunities, and they missed the chance at a three-point. Hollering at Chris Johnson, tell him to call for the ball, because Johnson is a guy they know can get started offensively for them and can carry them.
So it's tied up 23, 14-15 to go. Third tie of the ball game. Skip pass, Doyle.
See, there were some potential numbers there, but UCLA was doing a good job starting to get more people back than did Princeton going on the fast break.
Now you see UCLA, they show some.
Yeah, they're in the zone to try to force some outside shots because Princeton hadn't shown any real proclivity to make shots on a consistent basis.
Henderson. Rebounded by Doyle. They'll get a new 35.
Doyle has been big for them on both ends on the boards. He hadn't been able to make a lot of shots, but he's been big on the boards. He's got 3 rebounds.
And Llewellyn called for traveling. Lloyd, 2-time Oklahoma Gatorade Player of the Year out of Tulsa.
You can see what he can do. He can stand out there. He can shoot that shot. See, that's what they've got to do. They've got to make that. See, that shot there, Princeton's got to make. Because once the ball goes inside, the defense collapses on it, but they've got to make an open shot.
Look at the ball movement by Princeton. Really whipping the ball around. Johnson.
He believes in his shot. He's got a lot of confidence in his shot.
Sidney Johnson. Brandon Lloyd has hit 2 straight shots. UCLA has taken a 29-26 lead. Under 12 to play in the second half.
Princeton,
inside.
Yeah, they've been able to get it inside. He's been throwing it back outside periodically. Goodrich, that time he just took it to the basket and caught Jelani to a sagging man-to-man. Was able to get back out and get a little bit of a hand toward Lloyd's face.
In the corner, that's Brian Earl. Hesitant about pulling the trigger.
Yeah, the skip pass is one of the things Princeton is noted for.
He'll have to shoot it this time and bury it.
starting to move with much more sense of purpose, quicker, with more thought about where they're trying to get and what they're trying to get accomplished.
And we get our sixth tie of the ball game at 31.
UCLA comes back out, goes into a man-to-man.
Earl again.
Never got set.
Under Pete Carril.
Yeah, it is. I mean, obviously, not only Pete Carril has a lot of confidence in camaraderie, but the institution and Princeton does as well. I think they're turning it over in good hands. You can get some continuity of thought considering how long they've been together.
33-31, under 10 to play.
Princeton's going to have to start making something happen. They got 8 seconds on the shot clock. You can't keep throwing it around. This is when it becomes UCLA's kind of game.
Earl off the front of Bailey with 10 points. UCLA trying to stretch their lead. They're now up 36-31. And we'll get a whistle and a 20-second timeout called by the Bruins. And Mississippi State beat VCU 58-51. UCLA right now on a 7-0 run, the last 2:05. (36-31). Sidney Johnson with the heave.
They just told Princeton.
Make that 13.
Yeah, they did. They switched and put Toby Bailey on Sidney Johnson because Chris Johnson fell asleep on him.
Chris Johnson now guarding Mitch Henderson. Henderson can't beat him off the dribble. Here's Goodrich. 15 on the shot clock.
Oh, got it.
Henderson, and he can't make the layup. But he comes back with the steal.
Why he couldn't make the layup was because Jelani McCoy got a hand over there, and Henderson was afraid to get close to it, so he didn't follow through on it.
Inside Goodrich. Charles O'Bannon now guarding Sidney Johnson. Here's Earl, dribble penetration, has it poked away, and a foul. Reggie Miller, Larry Brown also in the stands. Both, one coaching for the Indiana Pacers, the other playing. Here's Henderson on the baseline. 39-34. 15 on the shot clock. 7:14 on the game clock. Goodrich posted up, calling for the Rock.
This is where it starts to move a little bit toward UCLA because they can start working just on their quickness, and he doesn't even see the shot clock.
Sidney Johnson with the air ball, and that will be a shot clock by.
In turn and stayed in good balance and position to come back with a little jump hook.
Right now, UCLA on a 12-3 run in the last 4 minutes and change. And a steal. Princeton with the basketball.
I would say for Princeton, they need to kind of settle in and get themselves a nice basket here because UCLA is starting to better understand what it is Princeton's trying to do. See, they're running at shots better and they just have a better feel. You can just sense it in UCLA. They're out rebounding Princeton 29-17. That helps too.
7-point lead matches the biggest lead for UCLA, but Sidney Johnson with the answer. He's got 9.
He had a tough shot he was trying to take there, and Princeton was already inside on the position, so they just blocked out, got the rebound.
41-37. Johnson.
You see now that UCLA is stepping up on the picks when Johnson looks like he wants to shoot a shot. They weren't doing that before.
10 on the shot clock. Doyle attacks the basket on the baseline. Reverse layup by Goodrich.
Every time Goodrich gets the ball.
On their bench.
Princeton, one of the things they can generally do is get the ball to Goodrich because he tried to draw a foul, but you can get it to Goodrich because Jelani clear.
And a steal. Doyle to Henderson. 3-on-1. Bounce pass Johnson. 11 points for Sidney Johnson. 2:50. 14 on the shot clock, 1:57 on the game clock. We're tied at 41 in the final game of the first day at the Southeast region. The winner to play Mississippi State, Llewellyn short. Mitch Henderson there in the backcourt. Gabe Llewellyn, Steve Goodrich, and Chris Doyle. 1:14 left. 24 on the shot clock. Here's Henderson. Sidney Johnson and a steal.
And they call that an intentional foul, which means he gets 2 shots and the ball.
Basketball. Shot clock turned off. 22 and counting. And we get a time out. Pete Carril and the Princeton Tigers have got a chance to win it. We'll be back for the finish right after this. .41-41, 21 ticks remaining. Princeton with the basketball. UCLA 2 timeouts, Princeton with 1. The next foul, both teams will be in the bonus.
See, McCoy has come out this time. Normally Goodrich could come and get it. You know they're going to try to run a backdoor play if they can get it.
Under 10, backdoor.
He got it!
3-point
He got it! He got a timeout?
Timeout.
And they got the backdoor! UCLA took a timeout. So the question that Jim Herrick is trying to get answered now is how many seconds were on the clock when they called timeout. So he's trying to get it add up. Signature play for Princeton is backdoor. Goodrich missed it the first time, dribbles toward the man, goes back this time, no doubt about it. Very nice backdoor. Llewellyn is able to get it in. And watch the bench just go berserk. Can you believe it?
For so many years, 29 seasons at Princeton, Pete Carril had come close to pulling off the big upset.
Look at him looking for the clock. Get that clock to run down. He thought the clock was already down.
His team right now, 1.3 seconds away from winning. Up 43-41. What's the strategy here for UCLA?
First of all, they're going to have to get it in. If I'm going to try to get it in Chris Johnson's hand, because first of all, he can make plays with one quick dribble. He can get to the basket. The only other option they have, the problem with doing it with Jelani McCoy, if he gets fouled, he's a less than a 65% foul shooter. That's the problem UCLA has. They're not a good foul shooting team.
Remember 1989 when Princeton almost came up with the upset over John Thompson's Georgetown Hoyas. They finally lost it 50-49. And take one more look at the basket by the freshman, Llewellyn.
Well, first of all, they missed it the first time. Goodrich gets it. He was going to throw it that time and held up. And now watch. Llewellyn goes out, dribbled toward it, and he goes back again. And he turned. It was Charles O'Bannon. He just turned him around. And that's how he was able to get the basket, because O'Bannon lost track of where he was. And the smart play by Goodrich is to go toward Llewellyn, because then O'Bannon doesn't know whether he has to help or find his man. He didn't find his man.
Petey Carril, his final season at Princeton, 29 years, 1.3 seconds away.
They're still trying to decide how much time should be put on the shot clock, on the clock. And the official, wait a minute, I thought they called up the timeout on the backcourt side. They're getting it in the front court.
On the floor for UCLA, Cameron Dollar, Charles O'Bannon, Toby Bailey, Jelani McCoy, and Chris Johnson. Who takes the shot?
And on this one, they may try to run it right here. I see they've got Toby Bailey here on this side. You can get a little action back pick with Toby Bailey and Charles O'Bannon for a back pick. And then you can step out to get it. And if they don't switch it, then throw the ball at the basket and let O'Bannon go and bring it down. This is a correctable error. This is about timing. Now, when does the shot go in? All right, it'll go in about, I thought it was about, all right, it's 3.9. The shot clock stopped. Now, when did he call timeout? See, that's the other part of it. When did he call timeout? Because he did not call timeout as soon as the ball went through the basket.
Cameron Dollar pushed the ball up the floor.
I think it's Chris Johnson on the far side. We don't get to see him. He's calling timeout now.
Now Chris Johnson calling timeout in the backcourt.
Yeah, Chris Johnson is calling timeout. See, Chris Johnson is right there calling timeout at the official.
The last man, there he is.
All right. He's the last man right there. He's been in the official's face. So the ball is here when he calls it. Right here, Bailey is called timeout. Now that's what they got to figure out. Either way, the ball can't go where they got Cameron Dollar taking the ball out if they get 3.9.
This is a correctable error, as we mentioned before.
They see it. They got to take it back. I mean, there's no doubt about that. It is a correctable error. They're putting 2.2 seconds.
2.2 seconds.
Then the ball has got to come all the way back. How did they get the ball up here? He never got there.
And that's what Pete Carril is arguing about right now on the sidelines.
If they're saying the timeout was back here and they add 2.2 seconds, then they've got to take the ball back to where there was.
And we'll get a timeout on the floor. 2.2 seconds now on the game clock. 43-41 Princeton. .2 seconds remaining. 43-41. UCLA down. Cameron Dollar inbounding the basketball.
Well, that's where the timeout was called, but they got to watch the lob.
Here's Bailey. He'll get it off.
Oh, they beat him!
The Princeton Tigers have pulled the upset. They beat the defending national champions 43-41.
Unbelievable. Is this great for Pete Carril or what? This is what the tournament is all about. Everybody's got a shot at it. Give them a shot. They got themselves in the position to win this game. Did an excellent job.